morning, students. Now I'm going to revise the 10th lesson because already theoretical side is over. Now I'm going to revise the 10th lesson. Okay, shall we go to that revision? Actually, this is a revision class, so please just follow the topics, right? Okay, shall we go to the topics? 10th lesson, already we know that communication system, right? So in that communication, the first important topic is modulation. Yes, and see this definition: the process by which come which some characteristics of a signal called carrier varied in accordance with the instantaneous value of another signal called modulating signal, right? So this is the definition. So this is the important 2-mark question. Yes, modulation. This is important 2-mark question. Yes, or otherwise the information is bearing signal is called modulating signal. So modulating signal is that 1-mark question. And the signal resulting from process of modulation is known as modulator signal. Yes, you should understand the modulating signal and modulator signals. There is a difference between these two signals. Okay, modulating signal and modulator signal, right? So this modulation topic is important. Okay, yes. So types of modulation. Yes, this is also 2-mark question. Types of modulation. The modulation is classified into 3 types. One is amplitude modulation, that is AM. Yes, amplitude modulation. And this is frequency modulation. This is what? Frequency modulation, FM. And this one is phase modulation, that is PM, phase modulation. So the types of modulation is 2-mark question. Okay, yes. See this amplitude modulation. So in this amplitude modulation, actually this amplitude modulation alone 3-mark question, and their advantages and disadvantages will come in 2-mark question, 2 marks. Okay, see this amplitude modulation. The amplitude of carrier signal is varied according to the instantaneous amplitude of modulating message signal. Yes, and the modulating signal is the envelope of the carrier wave, that is carrier wave, right? The required bandwidth is 2b. So b, we know that bandwidth of the modulating signal. So the definition of amplitude modulation is 2-mark question. Okay, next, see this. So this is amplitude of the signal and carrier signal. So this is what? Modulating signal. Which signal? Modulating signal. Okay, so because any one modulation will come in 3 mark. Okay, see advantages of amplitude modulation and limitations of amplitude modulation. So any one, either advantages, limitation will come in 2-mark question. At the same time 1 marks will come, right? See this advantages of AM: easy transmission and reception, and lesser bandwidth requirements, low cost. So this is the advantages of AM, amplitude modulation. And limitations, okay, so noise level is very high and low efficiency and small operating range. Yes, so this is the limitation of what? Amplitude modulation. So any one topic will come in 2-mark question. Next, frequency modulation. See the definition alone 2-mark question. See this: the frequency of the carrier signal is modified in proportion to the instantaneous amplitude of the baseband signal is frequency modulation. Signal and frequency modulation. Okay, because the amplitude of the carrier signal and the phase remains constant, so that's why frequency. So in frequency modulation we can change only the frequency of that signal, right? So this definition alone 2 mark, right? Okay, so just for understanding purpose, so this is the baseband signal and the carrier wave. So this is the frequency modulated signal, frequency modulated signal, right? Next, when the frequency of the baseband signal is 0, there is no change in frequency of the carrier wave. It is at its normal frequency is called center frequency or resting frequency. The resting frequency or center frequency, it is an important 2 mark question. Which question? 2 mark question, right? Center frequency or resting frequency. Okay, it start from here to yes here. Okay, so when the frequency of the baseband signal is 0, there is no change in the frequency of the carrier wave. It is at its normal frequency. So that normal frequency is called as center frequency or resting frequency. Both are same. Okay. Advantages of FM. So advantages of FM is that 3 mark question, or sometimes I will ask in any 2 points in 2 mark question. Okay, see the first one, large decrease in noise. This leads to an increase in signal noise ratio. The operating range is quite large. The transmission efficiency is very high as all the transmitting power is useful. And the fourth point, FM bandwidth covers the entire frequency range which humans can hear. Due to this, FM radio has better quality is compared to AM radio. It's radio, AM radio. Okay, this is the 3 mark question, or any 2 points will come in 2 mark questions. Okay. Yes, limitations of FM. So this is 2 mark question. Yes, limitations. FM requires a much wider channel. FM transmitters and receivers are more complex and costly, and in FM reception, less area is covered compared to AM. Right? Yes. Next, phase modulation. So phase modulation definition. This is the phase modulation definition. This alone will come in 2 mark question, right? So what is phase modulation? See this, in phase modulation, the instantaneous amplitude of the baseband signal modifies the phase of the carrier signal, keeping the amplitude and frequency constant. So the definition alone will come in 2 mark question, right? So advantages of PM. So which is advantages of PM? FM signal produces from PM signal is very stable. Frequency modulated signal produced from phase modulated signal is very stable, and the center frequency called resting frequency is extremely stable, right? So this is the advantages of phase modulation. This is also another 2 mark question. Now, then another important is 2 mark is comparison between frequency modulation and which modulation? Phase modulation. Yes. So for that question, you should write this answer. PM wave is similar to FM wave, and PM is generally uses a smaller bandwidth than FM. In other words, in PM, more information can be sent in a given bandwidth. Hence, the phase modulation provides high transmission speed on a given bandwidth. Yes, so this is the difference between which one? Frequency modulation and phase modulation, right? Next, the elements of an electronic communication system. Actually, this is that 5 mark is question. So this is that block diagram. You should draw that block diagram compulsory. So this is transmission, and this is the reception. So these are the two sections. Transmission sections consist of input transducer, amplifier, oscillator, modulator, power amplifier, and antenna. Yes. So under this title, actually 11 component is there. You should write yes all the components, because this is 5 mark question with this diagram. Yes, you should know this diagram. Okay. The diagram is very important. Okay. See, come to that reception section. Reception section consists of antenna, receiving radio receiver, demodulator, baseband signal, yes, baseband signal, and carrier wave, amplifier, and output transducer. Yes, around totally 11 component in communication system. Yes, you should explain all the 11 components. Okay. Next, bandwidth. So this is the definition of bandwidth: the frequency range over which the baseband signal or the information signal such as voice, music, picture, and etc. is transmitted is known as bandwidth. Is known as with one bandwidth, right? Yes, next, bandwidth of transmission system. This is the another 2 mark question. The range of frequencies required to transmit a piece of specified information in a particular channel is called as channel bandwidth, or the bandwidth of the transmission system. Okay, so channel bandwidth. So previous topic is bandwidth. What is bandwidth? Here bandwidth, channel bandwidth. Okay, this is that channel bandwidth. 2 mark question, right? Next, antenna size. So from this topic, definitely 1 marks will come. At the same time, problems will come based on the size of the antenna. There is a formula. This is the formula. Yes, I see that. Antenna is used at both transmitter and receiver end. Antenna height. Yes, antenna height is an important parameter to be used, discussed here. The height of the antenna must be multiple of lambda by, yes, 4. So this is that important 1 mark based. Yes, at the same time, based on this, what will come? So based on that, 2 marks will come. Yes, lambda by 4. Lambda is which one? Wavelength, and divide by 4. Okay. And next topic, propagation of electromagnetic waves. Propagation of electromagnetic waves. The propagation classified into 3 types. That is ground wave propagation, and sky wave propagation, and which one? Space wave propagation, right? See, the ground wave propagation or surface wave propagation is nearly used 2 kilohertz to 2 megahertz. At the same time, sky wave propagation or ionosphere propagation nearly 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And which one? Last one is space wave propagation, is the frequency range 30 megahertz to 400 gigahertz. Yes, so this is the propagation, because any one propagation will come under which question? 3 mark questions. Okay, which question? 3 mark question. Yes, ground wave propagation. So this is the definition of what? Ground wave propagation. See this: if the electromagnetic waves transmitted by the transmitter glide over the surface of the earth to reach the receiver, then the propagation is called ground wave propagation. The corresponding waves are called ground waves or surface wave. Okay, this is the definition of ground wave propagation. So any one propagation will come under 3 mark question. Yes. And see, that's attenuation. Yes, that is what? Lost the signal. Yes, see this, the 2 points, any these 2 points are 2 marks. Okay, the attenuation of the signal with distance depends on, yes, power of the transmitter, frequency of the transmitter, and the condition of the earth. Yes, the attenuation signal with distance depends on. So maybe this topic will come under which one more question also. Next, absorption of energy of the earth. So when the transmitted signal in the form of EM waves, electromagnetic wave, is in contact with the earth, it induced charges in the earth and constituted a current. Due to this, the earth behaves like a leaky capacitor. Leaky capacitor. Earth behaves like a leaky capacitor. That is leakage capacitors, right? And the next propagation, skywave propagation. This is the definition of skywave propagation. See this: the mode of propagation in which the electromagnetic waves radiated from an antenna and is directed upwards at large angles, gets reflected by ionosphere back to the earth, is called skywave propagation or ionospheric propagation. The corresponding waves are called sky waves. This is the skywave propagation definition. Definition alone 2 marks. And there is a zone where there is no reception of electromagnetic waves, neither ground wave nor sky, as called as skip zone or skip distance. This skip zone and skip distance is very, very important to mark. Okay, you should, yes, study this 2 marks compulsory. Okay, the next is 2 marks, important 2 marks. See this: the shortest distance between the transmitter and the point of reception of the sky wave along the surface called as the skip distance. Which one? Skip distance. This is also another important to mark, right? Yes, the third propagation, space wave propagation. The process of sending and receiving information signal through space is called as space wave communication. The electromagnetic waves of very high frequencies, about 30 megahertz, are called space wave. This propagation is space wave propagation. This is the definition of space wave propagation. And next title is satellite communication. So in this satellite communication, definitely 2 marks and 3 marks will come, right? See this: the satellite communication is a mode of communication of signal between transmitter and receiver and via satellite. The message signal from the earth station is transmitted to the satellite on board via an uplink. Is the uplink frequency range 6 gigahertz, 1 mark, and amplitude by the transponder and the transmitter to another earth station via downlink. The downlink range is also another 1 mark, 4 gigahertz. 4 gigahertz. Applications. So this application, from this application, definitely 1 marks and 2 marks will come. Yes, the entire application is 3 mark question, right? The satellites are classified into different types based on their applications. Some application is given. See the first one: weather satellites and communication satellites and navigation satellites. See, they are used, weather satellites, they are used to monitor the weather and the climate of Earth by measuring cloud mass. These satellites enable us to predict rain and dangerous storms like hurricanes and cyclones and etc. Okay, and next, communication satellites. They are used to transmit television, radio, internet signals and etc. Right, and multiple satellites are used for long distances, right? And next, the navigation satellites. These are all employed to determine the geographic location of ships, aircrafts, or any other objects. For navigation purpose, we are using a number of satellites. And next topic is fiber optic communication. Yes, this is a definition of fiber optic communication. 2 mark question. The method of transmitting information from one place to another in terms of light pulses through an optical fiber is called fiber optic communication. Yes, fiber optic communication. And the important 1 mark is it works under the principle of total internal reflection. So this principle is 1 mark question, important 1 mark question. The question is which principle used in optical fiber communication? So you should write total internal reflection, right? And the range. The light has very high frequency, 400 terahertz to 790 terahertz. Okay. Then microwave radio systems. The fibers are made up of silica glass. This is also another 1 mark question. Silica glass or silicon dioxide with highly abundant on earth. Okay. Applications of optical fiber communication. This is also 2 mark and yes 3 mark question, right? See that application. Optical fiber system has a number of applications, namely international communication, intercity communication, data links, plant and traffic control of is defense application. And merits of this one, the disadvantages and disadvantages. Merits. See the first one. Fiber cables are very thin and why lesser than copper cables. This system has much larger bandwidth, and this means that its information carrying capacity is larger. And see third point, fiber optic communication system is immune to electrical interferences, and fiber optic cables are cheaper than copper cables. And yes, demerits. 2 mark question. Fiber optic cables are move yes fragile when compared to copper wires. It is an expensive technology. It is expensive in technology. Applications. These are the applications of fiber optic communication. Next topic, radio and radar and applications. So radar and applications, 2 marks and 3 mark. Okay. So radar is basically stands for radio detection and ranging, and is used for yes almost all the yes fields. Mainly is for navigations purpose. We are using a number of radar systems. Okay, this communication and mainly used to sense and detect and locate the object like aircraft and ships, spacecraft, and etc. The angle and the range and the velocity of the object that are invisible to the humans can be determined with help of this radar. Okay, it is a 2 mark question. Right, applications of radar. This is very important. 2 mark. Yes, application. Radar find S extensive application in almost all fields. A few are mentioned below. In military, it is used for locating and detecting the targets. The second one, it is used in navigation system such as ship-borne surface search, air search, and missile guidance system. Okay, this is the important applications of radar. Mobile communication. Mobile communication is used to communicate with others in different locations without the use of any physical connection like wires or cables. This is the mobile communication definition. And the next, internet. The transmission of news across the global is done with a few seconds using Internet of Things. It is made up of possible controlled varied devices from single device. Example, home is automation using mobile phones. At the same time, it is enabled smart classrooms, online availability of notes and monitoring students' activities and etc. in the field of education. So these are some yes things in internet. So under the internet, 2 marks and 3 marks will come. Yes, applications of internet. So these applications of internet, 2 mark questions. There are three things: search engine, communication, and e-commerce. Search engine. The search engine is basically a web service tool used to search for information on the World Wide Web. Okay. and communication. It helps millions of people to connect with the use of social networking, emails, instant messaging services, and social networking tools, and e-commerce, buying and selling of goods and services, and transfer to funds are done over in a which one? Electronic networks, right? So this is the applications of what? Which one? Internet. Next, global positioning system, that is GPS. So 1 marks will come under this topic. Okay, GPS. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It is a global navigation satellite system that offer geolocation and time information to a GPS receiver is anywhere. Okay, GPS system works with the assistance of a satellite network. Each of these satellites broadcast a precise signal like an ordinary radio signal. These signals that convey the location data are received by the low-cost aerial, which is then translated by GPS software. That is what is GPS? Global Positioning System. So we are all using GPS nowadays in mobile phones. Applications of GPS. This is also another important 2 marks. Global positioning system is highly useful many fields such as fleet vehicle management for tracking cars, trucks, and buses, and wildlife management for counting the wild animals, and engineering for making tunnels and bridges. We are using applications, GPS application. Next, applications of information and communication technology in agriculture and fisheries and mining. So actually this is 3 mark question. So any one application will come in 2 mark question, right? See this. First one is agriculture. Yes, the implementation of information and communication technology in agriculture sectors enhance the crop yields. And the next one is fishers. Satellite vessel monitoring system helps to identify fishing zones and is used to barcodes to help the identify time and date of catch, and species name, quality of fish, right? And third one is mining. ICT in mining improves the operational efficiency, remote monitoring, and disaster location system, and the information and communication technology provides audio visible warning to the trapped underground miners. And the last one is it helps to connect remote sites. It helps to connect remote sites. This is the applications in agriculture, at the same time fisheries and mining, right? So this is the 3 mark question, right? Now come to multiple choice question. See this. We have only 5 questions. We have only 5 1 marks. See the first 1 marks. The output transducer of the communication system converts the radio signal into which one? Sound signal. See the answer is sound. Yes, converts the radio signal into sound signal, because see the another 3 options: mechanical energy, kinetic energy, none of them. So the answer is sound, first one, A. Next question. The signal is affected by noise in a communication system. Which one? Options: A at the transmitter, B at the modulator, C in the channel, and D at the receiver. So which is right answer? The option C is the right answer. In the channel. Yes, in the channel is the right answer. Okay. And third question. The variation of frequency of carrier wave with respect to the amplitude of the modulating signal is called as dash. See the options. First one, amplitude modulation. Second one is frequency modulation. Third one is phase modulation. And which one? Fourth one is pulse width modulation. So which is the right answer? Second one is the right answer. Okay. Frequency modulation. Frequency modulation, right? And the fourth one, the internationally accepted frequency deviation for the purpose of frequency modulation broadcast. Okay. So which is the right answer? See the options. First one is 75 kilohertz. Second one is 68 kilohertz. And the third one is 80 kilohertz. And the fourth one is 70 kilohertz. Which is the right answer? First one is the right answer, 75 kilohertz, right? And last question, the frequency range of 3 megahertz to 30 megahertz used for which one? Which communication propagation? See the options. First option is ground wave propagation, and second option space wave propagation, and third one is skywave propagation, space wave propagation, and fourth one is satellite communication. Fourth one is what? Satellite communication. These are the what? Types of propagation. Which is the right answer? C is the right answer. Skywave propagation. Which propagation? Skywave propagation. Okay, students. Next, short answers. First one, give the factors that are responsible for transmission impairments and distinction between wireline and wireless communication. Specify the range of electromagnetic waves in which it is used. So this is the second question. This is the difference between mobile communications, wireline and wireless communication. Okay. And the third one is explain the center frequency or resting frequency. 2 mark. And what is DES radar stands for? That is radio detection and ranging. And what do you mean by Internet of Things? Okay. These are the 5 questions. And next, long answer, 3 marks, 5 marks. See the first one, what is modulation? Explain the types of modulation with necessary diagram. So what is modulation? Definition. After that, all the 3 types of modulation. Right, AM modulation, that is AM, FM and phase modulation. Okay, say second one, elaborate on the basic elements of communication system with the necessary block diagram. Already said elements, 11 elements is there, so you should draw the diagram. So with the help of diagram you can explain the communication system. It is a 5-mark question, right? And see third question, explain the 3 modes of propagation of electromagnetic waves through space. It is a 5-mark question, right? And see the next one, fourth one, what do you know about GPS, and write the few applications of GPS. So 5-mark question, right? And give the applications of ICT in mining and agriculture sector. 3-mark question. And the sixth one, modulation help to reduce an antenna size in wireless communications. Explain. Modulation helps to reduce the antenna size. It is that 3-mark question. And the 7th one is fiber optic communication is gaining its popularity among the various transmission media. Just so you should write about fiber optic communication. This is which one? 5-mark questions. Yes, with merits and demerits. Okay, so the 10th lesson is over. Okay, students. Thank you, students. We'll see you on next video. Thank you.